Hi guys, welcome back to my creative space. This is Diana from Creative Activity, and today I wanted to start my video by showing you guys off this vintage garland. I think it is, something like that banner from Disneyland. I think it was like 1950s. Well, I mean that's when it opened, but the gentleman I bought it from, he said it was the early kind of banners. So I'm really excited I got it. I just thought I wanted to share it with you guys, and I also got this lamp. I had to put a screw there because the whole thing was wiggling and I didn't like the base, so I rewired the whole lamp and I took off the base and I replaced the base, and you guys will see at the end of the video how the base looks. So today I have a jar junk journal, and I wanted to start by selecting my paper. Well, I selected my jar first, and I was so glad how that jar ended up. That I was so glad I made the choice. I had a right intuition by picking the one I picked. You guys will see that. But anyways, the paper that I choose is my double dipped coffee filters, and I do have a video on that. And I also have a video on my double dipped paper that you guys will see there, the brown and the black one. So first I start off by making my size. Now make sure that I roughed it out because I can't just trace the top of the bottle, and one, because you're forgetting the thickness on the glass, but then the bottle changes dimensions as it goes down, and so I had to make it even smaller than that. So once I figured out the correct size of my paper, I went ahead and I cut different kinds of paper, different colors of paper, and different amounts of papers from the whole collections that I had. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about these jars. The jars are, well, they're all glass, but the whole idea came about because my daughter had a jar of, I think they were wishes, and they were all like little memo stickies, and you had to like open your jar and then like open each individual sticky because they were crumbled up. And I thought about this idea how you can just pull it out and make this journal out of this jar. And the jar can be jar of wishes, jar of I don't know, different ideas, but my jar idea would be the bucket, like the sort of like the bucket list, but a jar list, sort of like things you do before you kick the bucket, but in this case you kick the jar. I don't know, you guys know I'm crazy. But I also wanted to use as paper these sleeves that I got. You guys know I'm a big plant enthusiast, and so I save all my leaves that have that beautiful foliage that I love. So just for this kind of crafts where I get the chance to use it. So, but before I use it, I don't want to lose it as I'm coming in and out of I'm pulling in and out the journal. So I double coat it each side. So I put coating on both sides of soft matte gel, and I just don't want the leaf to crumble, and I want it to stay a little bit strong and stiff. So I coat it, and then it took me a couple of days because I coated the front and the back and the front and back, and I don't want to like heat dry it because I don't want my leaf to like get damaged. So I really like the wrinkles, and so I just let it air dry both times. I use a little bit of water so it applies nice and smooth, and once they're dry I just cut them to the shape that I need them. Now keep all your scraps because you're going to use those as we assemble the journal in the jar. Well, for the jar, may I say. And this is my double dipped paper. I dip it on one color, then another color, and that's how I get those different lines. And those lines are because I wrinkle the paper before I put it in color. And I do have also another video on this one. It's pretty fun, pretty easy, but it's just another take on paper dyeing, paper coloring that I had not seen before, and I noticed before. We had not mentioned it before, but the texture of the paper changes with this process, this double dipping process. It alters it, so it makes it a little feel like it's thicker or like it's fabric, which is not. And it looks a little thicker. It looks a little bit fabric like, but it's really just paper being double dipped in either the same color or in another color. And like I said, there's a video on it. If you guys want to look into it, I'll be um, posting it or putting down the link down below. Once I'm done cutting all my circles, and remember, you gotta wrinkle all the paper so it gives you that fluffy texture rather than just flat paper. I go ahead and use the scraps of the papers of the leaves as well, and you unite the ends. Now it's like a zigzag motion through the whole journal, so when you're able to pull out the first one, all the journal comes, trickling out kind of thing. So um, what I did is I used like all the brown, all the opposite colors. I kind of like junking it, but I kind of wanted some organization in this journal. So you guys can see I'm using like the colors that went from up to down, and I used the little links from down to up. I don't know, you guys can see. But anyways, I'm using little strips of paper and then also the little strips of leaves. But in reality, you guys can unite them however you want. There's another journal that I made for my friend Rosemary, and I used also staples on that one. You can use staples, you can sew the ends. I mean, you can do so many things. I have also used ribbon and lace. You can use many things, fabrics and um, other things. I guess is part of the creation of the journal. I make journals for a purpose because I use them myself. But in reality, a lot of people make them to as gifts. So because I use them for myself, I make them for myself. I know kind of like what I need and what to do with it. And I feel like sometimes it's even harder to make it for somebody else because you got to think, okay, how are they going to do it? What are they going to do? Do they even journal? Do they even like this kind of, art? But, anyways, as you guys can see, I'm using a leaf for a little pocket. And it doesn't cover the whole tag. It doesn't cover the whole little thing that I made, but I'm okay with it. I like that unnatural cover of it all. Anyways, and you guys will see I use reminiscences and I use little bits and here and there of things that I like. Like I said before, I am a scatter artist, scatterbrain artist. So I usually will start a page and 95% of the chances of the times I go back to the page and I add something on there, and um, it works for me because I don't feel pressured into finishing a page. I don't feel pressured into putting certain idea down. I feel like when I used to force myself to finish a journal or finish something, it would drive me crazy because I am not, I don't know, I felt forced at the end of the day. So I'm glad that I was able to just be okay with coming back to it, accepting that I don't have to finish it right now. I can just put little things I have here in front of me down on, papers, and later I'll have other things down in front of me, and I'll go back in all the pages that there's some I started, and I use them, I finish it, and I find that so refreshing because you know it's just I enjoy this way. And I know it sounds a little crazy and maybe a little chaotic for some people, but I really can't just sit down and do just one page at a time. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the jar because I am limited by time, and YouTube is not letting me do videos of 15 minutes or more. On the jar of this project, I decided to frost it. You can buy a spray can that frosts glass or plastic, and I bought a can and I used it on the inside of the glass of the jar. then I sanded it a little bit, so it just gives you that kind of like frosted, but it's kind of, fading away or coming in. You never know if the frost is coming in or going away. But in this case, I frosted and I sanded it, and I didn't know what I was gonna do for the lid. I came back to it about a week later, and I'm hoping you guys enjoy the lid and how I worked with it. It's my take on a cover of a jar junk journal, and how I would picture a cover of a jar journal would look like. But in these letters that you guys see here, they were soup. In case somebody was wondering, they were soup, and I just glue them and color them, and I like it because um, you can choose any color you want on the soup, and it's 30 cents for like maybe a million words, and it's fun. Anywho, so I just keep on using my scraps. I put some down and I go back later to that little layout, and we'll finish it later. Well, it's time to start on my maker's label. Um, I'm thinking I'm gonna do a label for every project or every journal that I make. I feel like that's the signature of the artist, and I feel like all these journals that we make are a piece of us, a piece of art. This is our art form. So this is my way of labeling and giving that seal of artist touch on our projects. So I do my signature from the back, so I write it backwards, and then I do the date, the year that I started the journal, from the front to the back, and I paint it with enamel, and then I sand it so that the embossed letters and numbers would appear more, and they would stand out a little bit more, as well as the edges that I did from the back. And it's kind of fun to learn to do your signature backwards. Anyway, so this is my lid. This is my take on the lid. And once you open it, the lace will help you bring your journal out. And hoping you guys enjoy this journal with me today. I'm hoping you guys like this project. I hope I see some jar journals in the future, and bucket journals that I see in the future. If you guys like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. It helps other people know about my channel, and it encourages more videos on my behalf. Anyways, like I was showing you guys at the beginning of the video, this is the lamp, and this is how I refurbished it. Thank you guys. Have a good day.